What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Game Chat, the video game variety show brought to you by Borderline Entertainment, live on twitch.tv/Borderline Entertainment. However, if you find that you're listening to this on podcast services or watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. But again, I have to give it out to our live audience because you're the trendsetters, you're the trailblazers, and you're the ones that make this fun to do. We have an amazing show for you, but I would be remiss if I didn't introduce my illustrious panel today. I am joined by the one and only Josh Biddick.
Hi everyone, how you doing? That is me, Josh Biddick.
You like that praise?
Oh, of course, I love the praise.
And then
even that much bigger.
Yes. And then our special guest is the one and only Kate Sánchez from But Why Tho.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
And we're so excited to have Kate. And Kate, for those who don't know you, who are you? Like, what are you doing here?
So my name is Kate Sánchez. Obviously, y'all just heard that. I am the editor-in-chief of But Why Tho, a geek community. We're a website of writers and podcasters who talk about everything in pop culture, reviews, news, interviews, literally anything for video games, manga, TV, film, comic books, literally everything. And then I'm also a podcaster. So I podcast on But Why Tho, the podcast, which is a flagship podcast for But Why Tho, where we talk about different pop culture subjects and why they matter to history, society, culture, all that kind of stuff. And then I have an anime podcast called Did You Have To, where me and my best friend Nisha talk about anime. And that means we review really bad live action anime, we review really great new anime, and we also talk about things that we like and don't like in anime as a whole.
So you mentioned live action anime.
Yes.
I don't want to dig in it because I feel like we're going to hit a huge rabbit hole, but just in like a few quick words, what do you think about Dragon Ball Evolution?
It's awful. What the hell was that strawberry scene? Why is his hair like that? And that was actually the first episode of our anime podcast. Because the anime podcast started by me and Nisha saying, oh, we should do a podcast where we just talk about awful trash like Dragon Ball Evolution. And so that was our very first episode.
Doesn't get much worse than that.
Wow. Yeah. No,
we started with the bar real low. And some great things have hopped over it. Like the Bleach live action is actually fairly good. Full Metal Alchemist is actually fairly good. And the Rurouni Kenshin trilogy that they did, phenomenal.
Wait, so they did Rurouni Kenshin live action?
Yeah.
Shut the front door. That's a thing?
With with phenomenal fight choreography. Like,
yep. It looks dope. It's like it's pretty too. They did a really good job.
Yeah. We actually, so we have anime days every Sunday, which I'll be doing later on today with my community. And I think 2 weeks ago, we binged all 3 of the Rurouni Kenshin live action movies. It was a hell of a lot of fun.
You were opening my eyes to so many new things. I feel like I have to say it now because I'm still like I can't get it out of my head, and I feel like the viewers need to know. So, yes, I'm your host, Asa. You know that. You love and adore me. But what some of you don't know is that my name isn't Asa. My name is actually Asa Nanica. And every once in a while, I'll see an Asa. There was that really old white guy who was on a soap opera. I think it was like General Hospital or something like that. So he's representing for aces around the world. But when I told Kate my first name, she knows somebody. She knows another Ace and Annika. Like, that's a thing. Folks, this literally never happens. There's tons of Joshes, no offense. There are tons of Kates, again, no offense.
There are a lot.
Johnny's, Jimmy's, Mary's, Susie's, whatever. But when it comes to Ace and Annika, that just doesn't happen. So, shout out to my fellow Ace and Annika out there. I hope that you hear this and you know that we are kindred spirits. And I was going to say star-crossed lovers. Not that. Meredith, I got a family.
You never know. Don't rule it out.
But you've got my heart because we have the same name, and that literally never happens. But, yes, so... This is Game Chat, the video game variety show where we talk about all things video games in a variety of formats. This harkens back to the olden days when we would have variety television shows, and illustrious, magnificent hosts such as myself will give you all of these different things in all of these different areas. And that is the most vaguest description of all. But with that, we're going to jump into our very first segment, and probably the hypest of them all, our Newsbies. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 items on the Newsbies docket, starting with Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite. Now Halo Infinite's been all over the gaming sphere. And so this was announced a week and a half ago. This is from Polygon, and I'm just going to read the statement that they have from 343 themselves. So Halo Infinite has been delayed. Probably a great thing, but we're going to get into that. Let's get into the statement. Today I want to share an important Halo Infinite development update with the community. We have made the difficult decision to shift our release to 2021 to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision. The decision to shift our release is the result of multiple factors that have contributed to development challenges, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts affecting us all this year. I want to acknowledge the hard work from our team at 343 Industries, who have remained committed to making a great game and finding solutions to development challenges. However, it is not sustainable for the well-being of our team or the overall success of the game to ship it this holiday. We know this will be disappointing to many of you, and we share all in that sentiment. The passion and support of the community has shown over the years has been incredible and inspiring. We wanted nothing more than to play our game with the community this holiday. The extra time will let us finish the critical work necessary to deliver the most ambitious Halo game ever at the quality we know our fans expect. Thank you for your support and understanding. So, where are we going to take this? Now, keep in mind, we do have a way that we do things with Newsbies. After we talk about this, we got to put this in some sort of ranking. Where does this sit with us? Are we in extreme hype? Are we in definite intrigue, mild interest, or just absolute boredom? Kate, Halo Infinite, the delay, what are your thoughts and feelings about this?
It's hard. I kind of want to put, I guess, definite hype, just because there needs to be more normalization of delaying games, and I think that the more often that this happens, you can companies will be able to set a precedent that, like, hey, this can happen. The world, we can't control it. And also, everybody wants a good game at the end of the day, and you don't need to rush that. Right. The problem we have in gaming culture is a lot of people automatically just start yelling, how dare you delay it? I want my game. And they don't take into account the humanity, that is actually producing it, the humans, the devs, the community managers, all the people who are getting everything together. And what I think statements like this do, specifically with how they worded it and putting the health of their employees at the forefront, is it's making this not just a game that's delayed. It's making it, we are a workforce who is creating this game for you, and in order to do that, we have to take more time. And I think the humanizing aspect of it is what I really like about their statement. So, like, I am not hyped because I really wanted it. I finally was going to get to be Master Chief again.
Yes.
So, like, I just want Master Chief. But at the same time, I understand it, I support it, and I think that more choices like this need to get made, because we do live in a situation where crunch is extremely bad, but we also live in a situation where a lot of gamers are very entitled to wanting their thing now. Mm-hmm. And the more that we humanize devs and the teams behind the games, the more we can move away from this entitlement that has just kind of run rampant through our communities. So
right. And Josh, I definitely want to get to you in your opinions, but I have to ask, do either of you feel that this is in direct result of the showing at the Xbox Games Showcase? Because talk about divisive. Like, that game was getting ripped to shreds, being like the flagship for the Xbox Games Showcase. Do you, like, I don't want to diminish, because I'm fully with you. Like, these are people that are working on the game. I don't want crunch to happen anymore, so please delay the game if it means that you can realize your vision. But part of me feels like, wow, this is literally right after they showed it, and it got, like, chewed up and spit out.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be part of a factor, but also the other factor is they told us that that wasn't finished stuff,
Right.
which I think is
Right.
the harder thing when it comes to showcasing games because people want to see the games and they want to see them now. But if it's even the slightest bit unpolished, even if you put it out there that they're still working on things, people are going to rip it to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I didn't think anything was wrong with it. I saw a
Gotcha.
whole bunch of blue check marks saying, "Oh God, it's Halo again." Yeah, what did you want? It's literally Halo again. That was the
Right.
whole point. Um, but I do think that may come into play. But I also think that like nobody could have predicted that people would be fighting to not wear a mask and keep spreading the
Right.
virus.
Yeah, like
So I think companies are having to have bigger conversations, not only about distribution and creation of materials, or not only about production and creation of materials, but also what it looks like in a distribution scale, especially on things that have Black Friday and everything built into their marketing plans. And so I think one of the smartest things, and it's one of the reasons why we're not seeing as many delays on the Sony side, I think because Sony is literally in a country that's doing well with the pandemic. They could easily do what they used to do and launch stuff in Japan first, and we'll eventually get it whenever our distribution chains can be set out.
yeah.
But what people like to forget is Xbox is an American company. And so they have to take in a lot of these issues that we are currently dealing with more into the forefront. And I think that it's probably a connection of all of the things, right? If people say something bad about what you show, then just taking pride in your own work, you're going to want to go back to the drawing board a little tiny bit to maybe spruce things up. But at the same time, you're also looking at a sales cycle this holiday season that's we don't know what it's going to be like. We don't even have prices yet for the next gen consoles. And I think a lot of that
Anything.
also has to do with not knowing what this sales cycle is going to be like when we move into the holidays.
Yeah. Josh?
I think you can't go into this thinking that they didn't talk about it, right? I don't think this was the reason by any stretch of the imagination. If someone's out there thinking, oh, they delayed Halo because we made a stink about it not looking good, I don't think that's the case. Like what Kate was saying, I love the fact that they said, hey, they basically were saying, we're not going to put our employees through hell to get this game out. It's going to come out when it comes out. The fact that they delayed Halo, I think, is a really big thing because like that was going to be the launch title, right? Like, I feel like the whole upcoming Xbox, it feels weird because they're not super selling like the system, they're selling the platform of Xbox,
Right.
which has been Microsoft's whole big change. And I think that's fantastic. It's really cool. I think it helps the gamers because, you know, I would have been able to play Halo on my Xbox One if I really wanted to. It wouldn't look amazing. I probably wouldn't run as smooth, but I could. So the fact that they're delaying it to be like, hey, it doesn't need to be out when the Xbox One X drops, or we're going to take our time. We're going to make sure this is a game because they know like if Halo Infinite comes out and doesn't matter what it looks like, but if it's bad, if it doesn't play well, if it's not fun, if it's janky and has all these sorts of day one patches it needs, that's going to be it for Halo. Like they can't mess up this Halo. Take as much time as you need. And I say that like I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, so I'm used to waiting for games that I want really bad for like my entire life. So games getting delayed isn't a huge deal. Like it's something I'm used to, but like they know they can't mess this up. And I think taking all the time in the world so people can like properly do this. And I'm sure people are still adjusting to this COVID workflow. Like,
oh yeah,
as content creators, we know how hard it is to be doing all this and even just sharing files, let alone like if you're waiting on a certain piece of information or a certain file from someone, you can't do your job, where before you could walk over to their desk and be like, hey, how you doing? Let me check in. And now you just kind of are stuck in limbo.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly difficult process that I know from the outside we don't fully understand.
Yeah. So then, to make a slight shift, what does Microsoft push? Like, obviously, we know that games are coming out with launch.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to release it without games.
Right.
But like you mentioned, and they have not been coy about it, like they're pushing the platform. You know, they're not pushing the Series X. And then we even saw that Series S is going to be a thing as well. So like they're going to continue to push out these consoles, but what they really want is just people within their ecosystem.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like it's a business. Like they have to make money off of this console. So
I think at the end of the day, what pushing people onto your platform does is it increases your Xbox Game Pass sales, which is already what a $14.99 a month continual payment thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that automatically is going to be lucrative for them. But I also think like gamers like me, and I say me specifically because I've been an Xbox person pretty much since I've had my own system that I've bought, like 360 and up. It's always been Xbox. And a lot of it has been because I don't know if it's because there's more multiplayer games on there, but like
For sure.
it's very communal. Yeah. It's about community. It's about building out a platform. And for me, I don't feel like it's ever necessarily been about the console outside of like the very beginning, which is why I've always, I don't know, one, I think console wars are stupid, but two, like it didn't shock me as like an avid Xbox person that they were going to community first, because what it does by pushing games that can be played cross-platform and multi-platform, even if you feel like it's devaluing your new system, it's actually widening your community. Because what is going to happen when PS5 launches? Every title that's on there, there's going to be a whole bunch of people who are currently struggling in a COVID economy who can't buy that station, who can't buy those games, and now they're locked out of them. Like for me, playing Spider-Man PS4 is literally a $600 price tag because I have to buy the system, I have to buy the game, I have to buy the DLC. And when we move away from the exclusivity piece, which isn't what a lot of people like to hear, you're pushing towards a more open community. It's what they've been doing with xCloud too, because mobile gaming is the most accessible form of gaming, especially in places like Latin America. And that's where we're going. So when, from a business perspective, we may be saying, okay, they're not going to make much money selling their consoles, but in the larger picture, what they're doing is they're creating a brand integrity that is built on community first. And they're going to be able to swoop up any of those people who want that next gen experience without the money to pay for a next gen console, that with their Game Pass, with their multi-platform titles, while Sony is just going to keep moving forward and forgetting about the people in behind.
Right.
So I think it's a smart plan personally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with you. I just wonder, I guess it's the marketing brain within me. Like, because their marketing for Game Pass is already there. It's already on point. They're doing fantastic. But when it comes to trying to push those hardware-specific sales, like we already saw with the showcase, like Halo was the flagship for the showcase. That was the marketing platform for that. But what is going to be... What's it going to be now for this? Yeah, I guess that's where my mind goes.
Yeah,
but
I think it's also interesting though too, because a lot of people who buy consoles opening day are those early adopters who are going to buy them opening day regardless of what is on them, regardless of what is happening. Whereas a lot, like the general audience of fans with not a lot of money, they're gonna wait for that second wave of titles anyway. So I think that there's some understanding of like the people who are gonna be the first to that gen are gonna be the first to that gen regardless, just because they want to be the first to it.
Yeah.
And the other people will come along. And I could easily see somebody picking up a game on Game Pass on their Xbox One, playing it and being like, oh, this is awesome. I wonder how it's like on the new one. And then, doing that a couple of times and then investing into the new system. That's at least how I see it. But it is definitely a big question because, like, at this point, I don't know how many first-party titles there are across Sony and across Xbox at this point, just because of what's been happening.
I don't think there's a whole lot. Like, like trying to think, I think all the first-party titles that come to my mind aren't coming out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
See, I know the only thing I can think of, and it hasn't been confirmed, is that Miles Morales I think everyone's just kind of assuming it's the launch title for PS5, but that's just because it's holiday season.
And then it's also like, it's a launch title.
Right.
It's an add-on that's outside of the box that you'd still have to buy the old game for to play. Sorry, I have a lot of feelings about that.
I totally get that. And for them, I mean, it's a smart move because I'm sure, I don't think Miles Morales coming out this early and this close to Spider-Man means they've been working on it pretty much the entire time, you know? So I think it's a smart move there because they can kind of slap on a new fresh coat of paint on it, make it look pretty, put it out there. You feel like you're getting a new game, but
well, they did it with Uncharted 4 and it worked extremely well.
Exactly. And they're not taking too much of a risk on like a big game like Halo where you don't really have to worry about pushing it because it's pretty much already done.
Yeah. So where do we sit with it? What's our final ranking on this delay? I know, Kate, you said hype.
Yeah, I said hype because I don't really know how to like put it into. I
feel hyped because it's important. You know what I mean? Like it's a big deal. I'm not hyped that it's delayed, but like I think what comes out of this delay and what this delay brings is going to be important. You know what I mean? It's Microsoft making a statement saying, hey, we don't want to put our employees through like a crazy crunch. And it's also showing that like, hey, we're so confident in our platform and what we want to do. We're delaying Halo because we don't need Halo to sell this machine or to sell our services.
That's a really good point. It's actually really ballsy to be like, yo,
baller point.
We're cutting this off. It'll get to you when it gets to you. Still buy our console. Like that.
I'm hyped for that.
Yeah, that's a move.
So extreme. What about instead of extreme hype, extreme support? Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Extreme support. I'm all about
extreme
it.
support.
I'm down for that.
Well, let's see if the next story gets some extreme support. So crossplay is coming to Dead by Daylight. Now, typically, I feel like a game getting crossplay this day and age is nothing new. Like this is something that not only we expect, but like this should be happening. If it's not happening, I feel like your game's dying. But it looks like it's also going to be cross progression. Now, it also looks like it's incredibly convoluted. This is coming by the way of Fanbyte. Now, it's all over the place. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to read through this, but essentially, so Dead by Daylight is on all platforms now. Yeah. Literally, it's on every single platform: Switch, PC, Xbox, PlayStation 4, and now it's on mobile. And crossplay is coming, but it's not each iteration is going to have cross progression, because then you basically what they're getting into is that each game on each platform has its own ecosystem, and so they're really referring to their in-game store. So like prices don't always connect. Where are you guys at with this? Like, so I've played it before. I try to get into horror games, but then I end up just like legitimately like being freaked out and scared, and I can't sleep, and like that's the whole thing. But I know like for myself, I'm hyped about this because I just like I want more crossplay. I want that to be a thing.
Yeah.
But I think this is something that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to clamoring for this type of feature for a game, because even when you look at like crossplay within PC, you buy this game in different areas. Like you buy it either in the Steam or in the Windows Store, and those are completely different payment ecosystems. So really what I was personally pulling from this is I don't think people understand how truly difficult, at least this was an eye-opener for me, but how difficult making crossplay and cross progression truly is.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, it's different types of localization. So it's the type of stuff that we see that happens when companies have to bring games from another country into another country. Localization has to happen not only from changing the language and changing like cues and stuff that fit the cultural context, but it also has to happen in like, okay, what do we price it at in this country? What do we sell in this country? What types of add-ons will work to sell for those microtransactions in this country that fit with those gamers in that demographic? And so when you look at platforms, it's also a localization aspect. And this isn't saying that like a lot of people have multiple. I play on PC, Xbox. I have a Switch. I don't have a PlayStation, but like so many people can play it on different pieces that I don't finding out what exactly those markets look like when each of those markets take different pieces of the pie when you sell something on them is extremely difficult. I think that's happened before. I want to say it happened on Overwatch or something, like Overwatch skins or something like that used to cost more money and I haven't played Overwatch in a long time. I only ever played on PC, but they were complaining that PlayStation cost more for a skin. It was like
Yes.
$2 more or something, but it was then on the PC. But the reason it cost $2 more was because Sony had to take a cut of it. So, and it was
Right.
for charity. So if you bought that charity skin, in order to have the same amount of money going from that charity buy from that platform, they had to put up the price because Sony was going to take a larger piece. And so when it comes to localizing the different game economies that they're going to be building, that's extremely difficult. That's really, really hard. And I think you're completely right that, like, I don't think people realize how hard that is. That being said, I'm not gonna lie, Sony doesn't make it easy for anybody to cross-play with them ever. They don't want it. They're very much about exclusives. They're very much about valuing their platform and their platform only. And I do feel like a lot of the reasons that we get crossplay, that company then also gives something to Sony to get that. So like if you look at the latest Call of Duty, I did not get to play Spec Ops, which is my favorite thing in the Modern Warfare franchise, because I have it on Xbox, and that was locked for me for a year.
Oh shoot, that's right.
Like,
I forgot
and
about
that was the only way that Sony would say, okay, but now you can cross-play with everybody. And so when you look at those different things that happen, all of it is to value that platform. So I think what we see with smaller companies pushing, and this isn't saying Dead by Daylight small, but it is not a big AAA studio game that is getting crossplay. It's an indie, it's a relatively indie game that ballooned overnight and is now on all the platforms. And I was on a panel with the lead community manager at Dead by Daylight, and she was like, the amount that we grew was something that we had no idea how to scale community wise, because it was so fast and it was so quick. And so now they've obviously gotten a handle on it, but that immediate like ballooning, that's hard. So for me, it's exciting to see a game that is that small attempt to do something that is cross play, but cross progression is always going to be something that is kind of finicky, especially when that progression can rely on in-game purchases. But I don't think we're ever going to get to a normalized in-game economy like ever, because that's going to mean that all of the stores and marketplaces will have to play nice, and I don't see them doing that.
Right. I think that's why you start to see more of like, hey, it's crossplay between Xbox and Switch, or Xbox and PC, and that's it. I mean, there was even games like Minecraft Dungeons that didn't get it right away. So just because of that slightly different ecosystem, even though like Microsoft's currently trying to get everything aligned, like it's not an easy feat.
Yeah. No. I mean, and even on like the Microsoft conversation that we had early, like literally right before this, it's one of the reasons why I like buying games on PC or Xbox, or why I like Xbox first party titles, because I don't have to do, okay, friends, we're in a group chat now. What are you buying your game on so that I can play with you? We can just buy the game and we can play, on PC or Xbox, and we're good. And I can buy it once and I can do it on either. And I think that that's something that is a revolutionary concept. But Microsoft also controls both of those in-game economies, so it's easy for them to make that leap.
I think it's tough because cross-play is still a relatively new thing in the history of gaming, even though it seems like it should have been around forever. Like, I'm so glad we're seeing it, but it still does suck that it seems like until a company like Epic strong arms Sony into allowing them to do cross-play and cross progression, you're just not going to see it. And like you said with Dead by Daylight, it's a smaller team. They don't have the power to be like, Sony, you better let us do this. And they're like, Sony's like, we have all the money in the world and we're doing crazy well. So no, we're not going to make any deals with you.
Well, because what people forget was when Fortnite was announced as crossplay, initially Sony wasn't on there. And so Nintendo and Xbox put out joint marketing campaigns that just made Sony look awful. And that's why Sony jumped into it, because they were pushed into it. And but also it's Epic. Like,
right, exactly. Epic can do it, but not everyone can.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, remember what Psyonix
sort of
went
unified
through with
like rules or guidelines are set, like, hey, here's what's needed to do cross progression and cross play.
Yep.
Until it's more universal, it just seems like it's going to be such a struggle for those small
hard.
developers.
It really is.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm in extreme hype for them that they were able to get this accomplished.
sure.
Yeah.
And also,
yeah,
I love their
100%.
transparency of like
Yes.
sharing how difficult this really was for them and all the different components that went into it.
Yeah. I am
100%
100%
agree.
with you.
Well, baller. Well, talking about Epic. Epic, I said it was 4 items on the Newsbies docket, but this Epic one is like split into 2, so maybe it's 5.
Right.
Because Epic has just been on a witch hunt lately. And I feel like in some regards it's warranted because Apple is also not playing nice. Like talking about Sony getting pushed into things, Apple's getting pushed into things, and then Apple snapped back. But in case you don't understand what's happening, Apple took Fortnite off of their store. iPhones with Fortnite installed are going for like $18,000. It is this whole big thing. Fortnite and Epic fired back by taking Apple's old advertisement, which, crap, what was the year on that one?
1984?
Yes.
Directed by Ridley Scott. Oh, so cool.
And literally did it like shot for shot, but within Fortnite. But now they're taking it a step further. And, a ballsy step further. So this is coming from gamesindustry.biz, and this is the first Epic news. We'll get into the second one, so let's try to stay siloed on this one for now. So Epic Games is drawing further attention into its ongoing dispute with Apple with the in-game event with an in-game event with Fortnite. Aptly named #FreeFortnite. So the Free Fortnite Cup is a thing. It's going to run across all platforms Sunday, August 23rd, today, and offers prizes themed around the dispute, including #FreeFortnite hats that feature a parody of Apple's logo. And it goes on a little bit further, but I kind of want to pause right there. Because when I first saw this whole thing start, like with the whole advertisement and everything like that, I was on Epic's side. Because I didn't like how Apple was handling xCloud. Like, that just seemed ridiculous, super shady. But then this feels like for me personally, this feels like it's going a bit too far.
Yeah.
Like, this is really antagonistic. I don't know. Am I alone in that assumption? Or in that feeling?
No, I don't think. I mean, they've got a lawsuit out. They have a lawsuit out against Apple saying they're monopolizing the App Store and everything, which I understand.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like if you have a legal battle brewing, you might not want to poke the bear and do like a free Fortnite Cup and parody their logo. Like, I just don't see that coming back well on them, you know?
So I thought it was ballsy and I liked it. But then they just keep doing things, and I'm like, yo, you're making it real hard. So there are two. So I am team Epic. I don't like Epic is a big company, but what is that saying? No ethical consumption under capitalism. Like literally every company you talk about will be bad. They will be big at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But when you look at the two going against each other, Apple isn't just strong arming Epic developers and Epic's apps. It's literally doing that to every single app on their store. There are so many apps that have gone out of business, and this is bigger than gaming. This is just the app marketplace in general.
Yeah.
That they have gone out of business because they cannot make any money with the cut that Apple takes. That's a big issue. And so for me, I don't care if Epic's doing it to make Epic look better or to make Epic more money. I care more about the end result that can happen from this, which is that Apple can be regulated to stop doing this on their platform and actually make it a more open market and make it more viable for smaller creators. That's what I see happening. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not going to help the small devs. It's like, if they change and regulate their policy because of something that Epic caused, it will help. And so for me, I think people are getting too caught up with the size of the company and getting too caught up in the histrionics that they were doing, which I just want them to stop. Because I'm like, yo, you're doing a fine thing. Please just stop antagonizing everybody to hate you.
Just leave it.
That being said, and I wonder how much this is going to change change as more people come to Epic's defense, and not people, as more companies come to Epic's defense, because what I think Epic is doing now is the reason that they were able to push Sony into crossplay was because they had two big companies that were able to make Sony look bad. Because at the end of the day, like we just said, a small company isn't going to push a big company into changing their policies. It has to be another big one pushing them. Epic is doing that with Apple. But when Google backed Apple, because even though Google doesn't have those practices, a regulation on an app marketplace does affect them. Epic took that was a hit against Epic and Epic's place in the case, in my opinion. So I think what Epic did was, well, if I can't mobilize another company, I'm going to try and mobilize the base of my game. I don't think mobilizing gamers is ever really a good idea.
No.
It usually doesn't turn out well. But I think that that's why they made the choice to do it. So I'd be surprised if they start to get quieter as more companies actually start throwing their hat in Epic's side. As opposed to Apple's. That's at least my take on it. I don't agree with the hashtag, and I think it's stupid, and I don't like their stupid hat that they made.
I don't either.
But I will always look for the bigger picture, and the bigger picture here is Apple has been trash for a very long time. Just because we don't like Epic, we can't forget the fact that Apple has been trash. Essentially is my take on the thing.
I mean, you bring up a really good point. Like, in the grand scheme of things, this is an important thing that's happening. But another thing that you had brought up, like, it makes me think of cancel culture and how sometimes you can see different creators or artists or whoever, when they get in any sort of tiff, they send the angry mobs. And it even makes me think about console wars. Like, the whole thing that was going on, like, what was it? Maybe just a month ago, when it was Xbox versus PlayStation, and there were all like the really nasty memes, and like you just saw people getting volatile out there, and this feels like it's feeding into that, and I think that's why it's so distasteful. And it's like, Epic, you're doing something great. Stop right there. Just keep pushing on that front, and don't shift the verbiage.
It almost felt like the kid who had a really good opening statement, and then the other person kind of like pushed back a little bit, and they were like, well, you suck, so take that. You know, like, it just, everything was so planned and so well thought out, and the commercial was great. But having the tournament, it feels like a child complaining because they didn't get their way, not like a company being like, hey, this is messed up, and we're the only people with the money and power to fight it.
Right, because they're not some sort of grassroots company that's fighting the man.
No,
it's Titan versus Titan.
I think that that's why so many people are taking issue with it and not actually looking at the actual issue, because it's like, it's a billionaire. It's two billionaires, just one has a little bit more billions than the other billions. And that's very true. And I think that that's one of the things that sucks, especially now, is we, like, I don't know. I used to be a person that was like, good things have to happen for the good reason and the right reason, and that's it. I have lived through so much crap at this point where I'm like, no, the right thing has to happen, and I don't care how the right thing happens, because at this point, the right thing is not happening. It hasn't been happening. And sometimes it has to be a less than great actor that's going to push it. And here we are. Also, what other company is even going to make Apple flinch?
Nobody.
Because the thing is, Epic has the most used engine. And if Apple comes for that engine, it automatically makes it so every other game development company has to see the bigger picture. And so it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get real ugly.
Who's gonna
Wasn't that something they recently talked about? How they were saying, hey, Apple locked us out, but like, if they update the system on Mac, we can't get in to tweak the Unreal Engine so people can develop. Like, and again, it was that point, like, that's like, again, really well thought out. This is a big deal. This is bigger than just Fortnite circumventing some app store policies. It's a real big deal. So it's things like that that are like, hey, these are the right moves. I just hope they don't step on themselves in the process of
Yeah,
trying to get attention going.
Because that's what they're, because you're right. Because like that's what they keep doing. Then it's like, oh, Fortnite tournament. Okay, so now everybody's going to focus on that, and everybody's going to tweet out pictures of the stupid hat instead of actually talking about the ramifications of what Apple is doing or what can happen. It's kind of like, and then, you have the best analogy. They started off really good, and now they're just yelling ad hominem attacks at people and thinking, oh, that's going to work. And it's at this point, it's not. And I can appreciate a company being petty to a point, but now I'm just like, okay, you're shooting yourself in the foot here.
Right. Yeah. Do either of you watch The Office?
Yes.
So it makes me think of, I believe it's like season 6, maybe season 7, but anyways, it's when they go to the whole Dunder Mifflin thing and they're under fire and Dwight is in line to throw Michael a softball question, and he starts talking about how he stood in line for forever, and you need to do better. There needs to be a take a number option. And it's like, he just keeps, everybody was on your side, but then he just keeps on throwing out, yes, and how about some ropes? And he just keeps going, and it's like, nobody's with you anymore. You were right the first time. Stop right there.
Back it up.
Back it up. But we've got another epic story. Now, this one initially, and I'll just dive into it. Because I've got thoughts on this one too. So, a Florida tourist attraction is suing Epic Games for using its name in a recent update to Fortnite. Coral Castle Incorporated has filed in the U.S. District Court for Southern Florida, demanding damages and permanent injunction relief, according to court documents. And again, this is also coming from GamesIndustry.biz. The lawsuit focuses on 6 charges, including trademark infringement and dilution, unfair competition, and violation of Florida's Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act. And it gets into a few other things, but basically what it talks about is Fortnite added the Coral Castle and an update for their water-themed Chapter 2, Season 3. And I feel like Epic has been, with Fortnite specifically, has been in this situation before, right? With like dances. Like they just started taking dances from trademark artists or things like that, but they weren't actually trademarked.
Yeah, so that's not you can't trademark. You can't
trademark a dance. I'm going to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, you can't trademark individual dance moves that can then be put together into a larger piece. That's the actual language behind trademarking dances. Is it ethically wrong? Yes. But it's not legally wrong.
But how do you think it applies in this situation? Like, do you feel like Epic did wrong in putting Coral Castle in there, or do you feel like, what damages are you going to get aside from becoming more popular with millennials?
Coral Castle is like witty alliteration, and they probably just made a giant castle out of coral, and somebody said, let's call it Coral Castle because alliteration, and we like that in our marketing and our games.
Yeah, and I bet you their business is booming now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what the hell. I don't even play Fortnite, but like, how are they damaging your brand? If anything, you're getting free promotional material for people who live in Florida, and they're like, oh yeah, that thing from Fortnite, I should go there. They shouldn't go there because it's a pandemic. But
oh yes, please stay home. Quarantine yourself.
Yeah, I think it's a big old reach.
Yeah.
It feels like it's another situation that Epic is in, like Fortnite is in headlines again. There's a lawsuit between Apple, so people are just kind of jumping on like, I hate them too. This is how I'm going to get to sue Apple. You know what I mean? Like, or sue Epic. Like,
Epic,
when everyone was suing about the dances, it was the same thing. One person did it, so everyone started doing it. Epic is fighting a battle with Apple. They're weak. Now let's get them for this Coral Castle thing because maybe we can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a thing of malice. I think you're right, Kate. I think it was just like, water update, castles, corals and water, Coral Castle. That's what we're going to call it. And I think that's all it was.
Oh, yeah. And I think, too, because like, even with the dances thing, I think that the dances thing was more ignorance than anything else, because I don't think they realized like the systemic issues that are at play when you take dances from predominantly Black artists, Black creators, Black people in the community genuinely just making dances, and how that has been perpetuated through all of our history and all forms of entertainment. And I think that they were just ignorant of that. I don't think that they were like maliciously doing it, but it fit into a larger trend. That being said, there can't be any legal there couldn't be any legal ramification for that because it's not, you can't trademark it. Now I think pushing, what they should have done was push for recognition of the individual people who did it, and now we're seeing that happen a lot more. But the thing is, taking dances wasn't just done by Epic and Fortnite. It's been done in literally any other form of media. It's been done during halftime shows. It's happened. Now what I think that conversation at least brought up was taking into account those creators and giving them recognition and some shine, which is what we're seeing happen a lot more now. So I think with this, it can just be like, maybe Google that catchy name you think is something you made up to make sure it's not something already. I think is where that comes from.
Maybe slow your roll a little bit here, because as somebody who works, so my daytime job, I work with I do digital marketing for small and medium-sized businesses, and I'm just going to tell you, small businesses across America, there's probably 50,000 Fast Eddies. Now, it might be like, here's Fast Eddie's, the pizza joint, here's Fast Eddie's, that's the car dealer, but there's going to be a lot of Fast Eddies, so I don't really think you have some ground to stand on. So Coral Castle, I guarantee you that there are other Coral Castles in other states across the country, but it's just your individual filing. You know, so, no, I'm with you. I thought it was a fun story. So, where would you guys put it? I would put it not in extreme hype. I'd put it in extreme laughter.
I put the Coral Castle one for sure. The epic legal battles.
That's not funny.
I am hyped to see. I am hyped to see if Epic can actually make a change with this Apple thing.
I am too.
Coral Castle. That's just funny.
Yeah, and now Microsoft has backed Epic, so now I think the game is changing because people forget that Microsoft is actually a gigantic company. And fun fact, the voice recognition technology that Siri uses was actually pioneered by Microsoft and licensed out to Apple. What people don't know is a lot of the technology we use is licensed by Microsoft. They just don't get the big old... They come out with the Zune that is a little bit too late because they spent all the time licensing their other stuff. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens on there. So I have extreme hype right there because this can be game changing for the entire landscape of any sort of marketplace. The other one, I'm just laughing. There's a lot of pit stops to make to that connection.
Have either of you done the floss dance?
Huh?
Have either of you tried the floss, the dance?
I've tried. I cannot do it.
I
can't do it.
If I don't think about it, I can do it. But if I start thinking too hard, then the hips and the arms, they start gyrating at different momentum. It's just all sorts of crazy.
I think we should try the floss. Just
no.
Everybody at the same time. Audio listeners will have no idea what's happening.
No, I can't. No.
In my chair?
I don't even know how to like move the...
This is it. You got to start with your arms and your hips.
If you don't have your arms in frame and you're just doing like shoulder movements, it all works.
If I can teach my 10-year-old sister-in-law how to do it, and I'm 31, I think I can teach anybody how to do the floss. You got to start with the arms. You start with the arms.
You're going to start floss instruction. Just be careful. You're going to not get sued by Epic. Hey, he's teaching people to floss.
I feel like dental associations are going to love me. Teaching people how to floss. Oh my gosh. He's doing what we couldn't do. All right, let's get into the last bit of Newsbies news. And this is, I'm so excited. The other stuff was great. I'm glad we talked about it. But I'm like, all right, check the box. Let's talk about DC fandom. Not everything, because this is a video game podcast. So let's talk about, first, Gotham Knights. Good gosh.
Gotham Knights.
But Kate, you don't look fully hyped and excited like I am. Oh, no, I'm going to cry.
No.
All right, go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'll go last.
So, I have nothing wrong with the game itself.
Okay.
I have everything wrong with the fact that they've been hyping up a Batman game.
Yeah.
And it's not a Batman game. It's a Bat Family game, which is fine, but it's not what was hyped up.
But what if we get some sort of, like, you know that there's going to be some sort of twist. You can't have the Court of Owls and you can't have an Arkham game without a twist. Even though it's not an Arkham game.
There's going to be a twist, but does my twist let me play Batman, or do I just get to see him when I play one of his adopted children? I don't want. I think it's also hard for me too because I don't care about that family. I don't care about Barbara Gordon. I don't care. I like Nightwing's butt, but I don't care about him.
You don't care about
I don't
Babs?
care about Robin's. I don't care about any of them. I don't like Bat Family. I like Batman. That is what I come to watch.
To be in this game, right?
Like he's gonna have to be. He's
not
to be
able to play as Batman.
There's no way that he's gonna be really dead. It just bugs me because they should have marketed it, or they should not have teased it as specifically Batman or hyped it up as specifically Batman, which I get he's the name that draws people to it.
Yeah.
But like, I would wage to say general audiences outside of Robin don't really care and or know that much about the Bat Family. If you don't read comics. And for me, I read comics and I think all of their stories are atrocious. It's fine to at me. I just, for me, I want to be Batman. I don't want to be anybody else.
So,
like, put them in some DLC. That's cool. But I want to be Batman in a Batman game.
Does that put you in mild interest? Because I'm not picking up boredom from you.
It's not boredom. It's just, it was a bait and switch, and I feel betrayed. I feel bamboozled. I'm in extreme bamboozled.
But what about with Origins? Did you feel bamboozled with the Joker Black Mask switch?
No.
Spoilers if no one's played Origins.
No.
Okay.
But I still got to play Batman.
Dang it. Okay.
Like, well, that's the thing here. I don't care who the villain is.
I'm trying to find some silver lining because
no,
I'm the other end of the spectrum.
I think it's going to be fun. I hope everybody has fun with it. I hope people are excited for it. Having an online RPG, that's going to be dope.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have promised me a Batman game.
Are you going to play it, though?
Probably not. I mean...
what if there's large sections of Batman play?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see this game, like, I don't know. It's just in my head. I love Nightwing. I'm super juiced to play Nightwing, but I can't fathom a world where you don't play Batman.
I'm juiced.
I don't know. Let me see. Weird. Let me see a caked up Nightwing, and then I'll make my decision. But no, I mean, so to be fair, I have very limited time between all of the other things that I'm doing, and now I really only ever get to play games if I'm going to specifically review them. And at our site, we try to prioritize people who are genuinely hyped to play a title, so that there isn't any unconscious bias that is going into the review that happens for it. Yeah. And so most of the time, if I'm not reviewing a title, I will not play that title on launch. I have a couple of games that I cycle through that are kind of like comfort food. Yeah. And that's like, I'm mainly playing Final Fantasy 14 right now. But I don't have a lot of free time. So like I just finished Samurai Jack, but that was for a review. Yeah. So this is a title that like I won't necessarily pick up right away, and it does suck because my husband and I game together. So anything that is co-op or multiplayer is something that will automatically go on our radar. Right. But he's also in the same position I am, where it's like, but Batman. So, I mean, I'll see. I need to see more about it. Yeah. I need to see more. I need to see more details about the co-op and multiplayer. And I need to know if there's going to be a Batman. But I don't want to take away from anybody's hype. I'm just disappointed with the marketing that went into
That's fair.
That's
fair.
But it does look like a damn good game.
Yes, it does.
So,
Biddick, where are you at with Gotham Knights?
I loved playing. So I didn't actually play Arkham Origins. I played Arkham Asylum and I played Arkham City a bunch. I never got around to Night either. So I'm not like a die-hard Batman game fan. I like that world. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. You know, like I don't know if it's like worth my $60. Unless I've got like someone I want to play. Like Ace, if you hit me up and you're like, "Yo, let's do this," I'd totally do it.
I'm dying
but I don't think I'd do it of my own volition. With that said, though, like, Nightwing's my boy, and they have done him justice, at least visually in this game. So it looks beautiful, it looks crazy, and I'm happy for Barrett Courtney, especially because I know how juiced he was.
Oh yeah.
So to see him be extremely excited, that makes me happy.
Well, I mean, you guys know I'm excited, but I'm feeling so deflated now at this point. But let me say this though. Out of the 2 game announcements that came from DC Fandom, I think this Far and Above for me personally was the better one. Like you talk about feeling bamboozled. I feel bamboozled about the next game that we'll talk about from DC Fandom. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 100%. But wow, this. So I loved the sections in all the different Arkham games, like when you got the DLC when you got to play as Batgirl, and the sections where you got to play as Robin and Nightwing. And I'm even excited to play as Red Hood, like to play as Jason Todd. That's so cool.
That's pretty cool.
And as somebody who is currently playing Assassin's Creed Origins for the first time, I was getting a lot of vibes from like the direction that AC has gone. Like with the character leveling systems, the way that they're going about like loot and gear. Like I saw a lot of people drawing comparisons between Gotham Knights and the Avengers game that's coming out, but I feel like I feel like Suicide Squad and Avengers are probably going to be closer in kin, because Gotham Knights is drop in, drop out co-op. It's not a games as a service, lived in, breathed in, Destiny-ish type world. At least that's.
But neither is the Suicide Squad game.
I thought that Rocksteady put out that it was going to be a games as a service.
No, I could have sworn that the type of co-op play that was going to be done for Suicide Squad was akin to Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Shoot! Whoa! What?
Well, yeah. Well, sorry. That's just my frame. That's my frame of reference. But it's essentially drop in, drop out. But you can play. You can cycle between the 4 characters when you play solo, or you can play with people through those 4 characters. And I think that there are going to be more characters, but I'm pretty sure it's not games as service. Because I'm pretty. I thought Gotham Knights was supposed to be online multiplayer, which would put you in the Destiny vein.
See, but did you watch the extended gameplay?
No.
Of it? It looked more like if you're playing Borderlands. And like it doesn't seem open like Destiny, where there's just going to be like 20-30 people on a server at any given time. I think it's going to be more like Borderlands, where you're playing through this carefully crafted singular story, and it's like boom, Robin just jumped in and you're playing as Batgirl, and so now you guys are playing together. So that's what I was pulling from it. I'm gonna have to dive into Suicide Squad more,
because Suicide Squad is when you will always play with those 4 characters, but you can cycle through them yourself, and when you play with another person, they can then be one of those other characters.
I would say from reading the IGN write-up, it looks like it's going to be kind of similar to like a Final Fantasy VII remake, where like if you're playing solo, you can switch between whoever you want at any time. And if that's the case, then I would probably be way more
I'm excited for Suicide Squad because it makes me think of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games and how I read how that stuff was going to happen.
See, and I was under a completely different thought, because hearing that makes me way more excited, even though to like. Let's just switch over to Suicide Squad, and I'll get my piece out because I want to hear what you're juiced about, Kate. Sorry to commandeer your verbiage, Josh. But like with Suicide Squad, like it's been 5, 6, 7 years since Rocksteady's last game, and I was just really bummed that we just got like a 3-4 minute cinematic trailer, and then that was it. And they've been, so I'm wondering if like, were they working on a Superman game? Were they working on something else and it got scrapped and they had to move this direction?
The rumors were that they were supposed to have a Superman game in the mix. Again, it's rumors,
right?
But from what I've seen from some of the Scooper people, which I am not one of, it was something that was changed mid-cycle.
That's what I thought. I also don't like that Superman looks like John Cena.
But yeah, that makes sense though too, because like I guess I'm in a different camp. Like I know everybody wants to see gameplay, and I get why, because you want to see how it's going to move. You want to see how the combat's going to look. You want to see what is actually gonna, like, is this game worth my money? But at the same time, I also feel like any sort of announcement, I always just expect a cinematic and then I'll get something else later. And so I'm never too worried about the gameplay stuff, but I understand why people
Right.
wanted to see it because it has been so long.
And I think Gotham Knights just maybe set my expectations to where I wasn't expecting to see gameplay. Thought it was just going to be trailer, and then we got those visuals.
That makes sense.
And then to go to Suicide Squad
too. That
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, like I thought it was going to be the same type deal, and it wasn't, and I was bummed because I love Rocksteady's games, obviously.
Yeah.
Like I'm so I will play Suicide Squad. It's going to happen. But yeah, Josh, how did you feel about Suicide Squad?
So I didn't really care about Suicide Squad until I saw that trailer.
Okay.
I really liked like the Harley Quinn show. I think that's all really, really fun, and I love like the character interactions on that show. So seeing this trailer, I was brought into that because it feel like it's kind of that similar vibe. Like everyone, they're friends. They, you know what I mean. Like the relationship seemed like what I wanted out of those characters, and seeing how fun it looked, and like I think Greg Miller had said it felt kind of Sunset Overdrive-esque, which Sunset Overdrive is one of my favorite games. So if it has any feel like that, I'm on board. So I couldn't have cared less before, but seeing that trailer, I'm like, you know what? I want to pay attention to what's going on here. So sold me.
I'm the same. I came into fandom not wanting to care about any Suicide Squad stuff because I enjoy the Suicide Squad. I've liked the animated movies that they've done. I like the individual characters that are on Suicide Squad. But David Ayer ruined it for me because that movie was atrocious.
Piece of garbage.
And it was just very bad. In my opinion, it was even worse than Justice League. Just because of the characters and what was done to them. But that being said, when I saw James Gunn's teaser with all of the amazing cast and Harley's new costume and all of that, I was so excited. And then I didn't care about the Rocksteady Suicide Squad game because I'm just like, oh, why do we have to put these people in everything? Why does Harley need to be oh God, this is such a cool trailer.
Right.
That was pretty much my reaction to it. I'm really hyped now just because of it. That and they made Captain Boomerang look cool. How the hell do you make Captain Boomerang look cool? So like that immediately makes me excited. I think the fact that they've kept I think one of the cool things is that they kept the retcon of Deadshot as being a black character is also a really, really cool thing. And then I think also the fact that I'm excited for Avengers. But this is how you make characters who don't look like the movie versions, but still embody the characters.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Excellent point.
So that all has me excited. I thought the scoring was good. I thought the voice acting was good because Harley Quinn has been one of my favorite characters for a while, especially in animation, and that has to do with Tara Strong's voice.
Hearing Tara Strong was so cool.
Exactly. And it was one of those things where like it's why I was very critical of Harley in David Ayer's Suicide Squad because I did not like Margot Robbie's voice.
Okay.
And so that's always my thing is like, how is Harley going to sound? And the moment I heard her, I was like, yep, this is it.
Yeah.
So
I did just a little bit of research because I felt conflicted. So it looks like it being a games as a service is not out of the question yet.
Okay.
So it's not being labeled as that right now. It's being labeled as an action adventure shooter with hints of a looter shooter. So I imagine that's probably going to be that, maybe like getting different skins or different guns.
It's labeled for 2020, right? So a whole lot could change between now and actual release of the game.
Yeah.
Which that's another thing that drove me nuts. Was that it 2022? That's so far. That's so far. Like at that point, I was like, man, I wish you hadn't showed me the game, because it's been so long since we've had a Rocksteady game, and then we see the trailer, and then it's like 2022, and I'm like, no, I want to play this now. I want to try it now. I think one of the best descriptions I saw of it had the Sunset Overdrive, but it also added in some brute force. I don't know if either of you played brute force.
I don't think so.
On the original Xbox. I feel like a lot of people don't like it. I loved it. I thought it was great. But that's just me. A 4-person co-op shooter. Everybody like has their nuances, so. But Well, dope. So it sounds like we're all extreme hype for DC Fandom game announcements.
I would say so.
I am. I am. Because even with my bamboozlement that is Gotham Knights, I think it is going to be really cool to see DC extend their games past Batman, even though it's still Batman adjacent. But it's gonna be interesting to see at least how fan reaction is, how their sales are, to see, because if Gotham Knight succeeds and there is no Batman in the game, then you actually open the window to have an entire new pantheon of game characters that you can actually work with, and we may get a static game down the line, which I would love.
Oh yeah,
because static is back.
So cool.
Could you imagine a static game like Infamous?
Yeah. It would be amazing. Give me like a crossover of like Infamous and Sunset Overdrive because of how he gets around. It would be phenomenal. Come on now, guys. So because of that, both of those things do make me extremely hyped.
Yeah. Well, that concludes it for our Newsbies news. Let us know in the chat or in the comments below, what do you think about these news topics? Are you extreme hype? Are you definite intrigue? Are you mild interest? Or are you just flatlining? Are you absolute boredom? But we're going to move on to our next item, and it's time for What's in the Box. What is in your Xbox, your PlayStation, your PC, your Switch? What are you playing right now? And Bidik, we're going to start with you. What games are you getting into right now?
So I just got the platinum in Ghost of Tsushima, and it was phenomenal. I enjoyed every second of that game. I am debating starting over and playing all again, because I played my first with English dub, and I think I might do it again. Well, I know I'm going to do it again with the Japanese dub. I'm just kind of holding out hope that they do a new game plus. But if they don't, I'm totally willing to experience that all again. Ghost of Tsushima was, I say, like the perfect game for me. I've always loved samurais. I've always loved Japan. I love the open world action games. And it literally checked every single box for me. Story was incredible. The characters were a lot of fun. I loved all the customization you could do. And again, it feels so good to play. And then, of course, aside from that, Apex season 6 dropped. So I've been touching that a little bit, touching Fall Guys. And I actually started playing Samurai Jack on my phone because it's Apple Arcade. And as much as I know I probably shouldn't have Apple Arcade because of the whole hubbub right now, my dad pays for it for him. And since it's part of the family plan, I have it. And I figure since I have it, I might as well play that game.
Okay. So you both have played Samurai Jack. I didn't know that this game was happening. And I am a huge Samurai Jack fan, so I know literally nothing about it. Can you guys give me that elevator pitch of Samurai Jack, the game?
It literally throws you into the show.
It's awesome. It's exactly what you want a Samurai Jack game to be.
So do you like relive the entire story? Is that what it is?
So not the entire story. So there are... You go through some key moments in Samurai Jack. You get to play through them. There are 9 different stages, and there are 3 different difficulty modes, and all of the progression, it works like a hack and slash. So you finish a stage times out, you get your score for it, all that kind of stuff. So the replayability is, I've beat it once. I'm going through it again on the next difficulty because I played it for review. So I played it on Jack level, which is the easiest level, so I could breeze through it. Then I started playing it on Samurai for a few of the key levels before I did my review, and now I'm doing all of them.
Oh my gosh.
It's really fun. The gameplay is fun. And I'm playing it on Switch specifically. I have a Switch Lite. There are some camera issues in that, like they switch you from 3D hack and slash to almost a 3D platformer where it is just side scrolling a bit. And that camera transition sometimes messes with my eyes, but I get motion sickness easily. But this is everything that a Samurai Jack fan would want. Like, this was clearly made by Samurai Jack fans. Which is amazing, down to little Easter eggs that you're only going to get if you've watched all the series, and down to, for me specifically, the fact that as I take damage, my shirt comes off made me so happy. It also meant that I almost died a lot of times because I didn't want to heal myself.
Oh, for sure. When your hair gets all ratty too. Oh my God, it's so cool.
So good. It's great. like it is a game for and by Samurai Jack fans, and I can't praise it enough. And the fact that I am playing it still after my review is a big thing, because I don't do that with a lot of games, especially when I've beaten them.
Okay.
So yeah, it's worth it.
So Josh, coming from the perspective of playing it on the phone, how was that experience?
I mean, camera issues are always an issue because, like, I'm cutting it slack. I know it would feel better on a console, like if I had a controller in my hand. And I've even debated like buying one of those adapter things so I can put my phone on like my PlayStation controller and do it that way, because I know that would feel better. I mean, it works. You know what I mean? The thumb, but like all the attacks and buttons are on the screen, so it can get a little cumbersome. But I haven't had it hasn't broken my immersion or stopped my fun at all. Like, I'm still having fun with it, but I also, like, you know, I know it would be better with a controller, so it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you guys had me sold when you said he takes damage and his shirt comes off.
So cool.
So
cool.
Because that, like, did either of you play the Wolverine video game? It was like 360
X-Men
PS3.
Origins Wolverine?
Yeah,
I've played it about 1,000 times, yeah.
Yes, I loved that mechanic in that one. Whenever Wolverine would take damage,
watch him heal.
You watch him heal, then you see his
corner,
metal skeleton. Like,
so cool.
That real-time damage healing mechanic, that's the best. That's the best. Okay. Kate, what are you playing? Okay.
That Samurai Jack. That's the only thing I have played for the past 2 weeks.
Nice.
But you said Final Fantasy 14.
Well, yeah, I play Final Fantasy 14 with my husband. I haven't been online in a while, but that's my go-to game outside of that.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
I need more about Final Fantasy 14 because I played it just a little bit, like way back when it first came out, and then now I'm seeing all my friends on Twitter being like, "Getting back into Final Fantasy 14, it's sick, everybody," and I'm like, "What did I miss?" Like, Shadowbringers is one of the most phenomenal expansions I've ever seen happen in a game. What did it do to change the game to, like, make it good now?
Well, so Shadowbringers introduced 2 more. Well, so the game being good isn't on Shadowbringers. That's on the entire relaunch of Final Fantasy 14 itself. They recrafted everything down to classes. And so I didn't play it before, so I can't really speak to that. It is just my favorite MMO, and that's all I can say. But I know that a lot of people are coming back now specifically because of how expansive Shadowbringers has been, because of the classes that it introduced, because of the races it introduced, and because of the consistent title updates that are happening and the large events and trials that they're putting into it from those title updates. For me, I'm a tank. I look really pretty, and I have a fat cat that is my pet, and I just bought the mount. So that's why I play. My husband knows more of, he pays more attention to the lore and everything like that, but mine is just mainly the tank gameplay is something that I really, really appreciate and really like.
Yeah.
The stance switching is something that I have a lot of fun with. And just the different rotations for tanks, I like a lot. I like being a tank here than I do in like WoW or other games. So for me, I play because of the tank mechanics, because it's beautiful, and I get a fat cat. So like that's kind of a very, very
win-win.
That is a
win-win. It's not a very intelligent conversation of Final Fantasy, but it's a hell of a lot of fun.
So is it a flat rate cost, or is it a monthly subscription?
It's monthly.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, $12.99.
These games are killing me. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't. Is there like because WoW does the thing where you play till level 20 and it's free.
Yeah, so you can get a month free when you sign up, I believe, is how they do it.
So that means I need to be going hard for 30 days, and then I'm out because there's just
you got to put your kid to work, Asa.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, hey,
and
man, you're gonna go do my job.
What you could do too is you could just wait for them to do another one of their sales. So they rotate in and out of free to play windows. So you can always just do one of the free to play windows if you already have the base game. Doing the free to play window is super easy. PS4 gets a lot more of the free to play, and that you can actually do the free to play without buying the base game sometimes. PC is a little bit more restrictive.
Okay.
And PS4 is cross-play with PC.
Boom. I was just gonna ask.
Yeah. It was the only crossplay title they had for a while.
Do I do it?
It's fun.
Do I jump into it? Because I'm right now hopping between like a million different MMOs. ESO, WoW. I'm getting pushed to get back into DC Universe Online. I've been itching to get back into Lord of the Rings Online because I miss it, and they regularly update that one. So many time sinks.
Did you beat The Last of Us 2 yet, Asa? Because I've been dying to talk to you about The Last of Us 2, and to my knowledge, you still haven't beaten it yet.
So here's what I'm playing. Let's just hop into that so I can be honest. I have not beaten The Last of Us Part 2. I was very, very dedicated at the beginning to try and push and get through it. And again, with a kid and only having like very limited times of when I can devote time to play a game, I have not beat it. But I've made significant progress. I am now playing as Abby, and I'm leaving the stadium.
Okay, so you're about halfway done with the game. I'm proud of you.
Shut the front door. That's only halfway. Dude. I'm loving it. I'm loving the game, and I'm having so much fun, but I'm like, I just want to be done, so I don't have this like looming shadow over my head that like I'm just never going to beat it. Because I also, for some sick reason, was like, hey, I'm going to jump into Assassin's Creed Origins. I never played that one. And it is everything that I want right now at this present time. Awesome. Like, it doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed anymore. Like, I'm just going to say it. Like, I don't want to be like a purist or anything like that, but it just doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed. It just feels like an action RPG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, like, I love the side quests. I'm doing every single one. Even the fetch quests are fun because I love riding my camel and trying out all my new gear and picking up weapons and just like I think the very first thing I did outside of the tutorial was take down like the first guy that there's like the ring of people who you're trying to like take out. I just went for him right away and would not stop until I killed him, even though I was way under leveled, because I love that challenge. Right. But I know that I need to be finishing Origami King. I need to finish Last of Us Part 2. I need to start Ghost of Tsushima. There's just too much going on. So
you're going to love Ghost of Tsushima.
I basically crumble under the pressure and just play something else. That's what I'm playing.
Everything and nothing all at the same time.
Yeah, everything that I want to play and nothing that I should be playing. But let us know in the chat, let us know in the comments below, what are you playing right now? Is there something that we should be trying out that we're missing out on? Please inform us, because if there's anything that my conversation should enlighten you on, is that it's not beyond me to just stop playing a game and to pick up another one willy-nilly. But enough about playing games. It's time to make games. It's time for Make It or Break It, where we get a prompt from you all in the community to make a game. And the prompt that we've been given for this episode with Kate is Shonen Jump. And I feel like
so on brand for me.
It is so on brand. Basically, we just get like a bunch of them, and I'm like, which one do I pick? Oh shoot, we got Shonen Jump. Perfect for Kate. Picking it. So I feel like this is a pretty good challenge, because there are like Shonen Jump games out there, not just like specific ones, but like there's what was the latest one that just came out?
There's J-Stars, which was the essentially Jump Force before Jump Force was Jump Force.
Victory plus Ultra, something like that. Yeah. So we're gonna make pretend that those don't exist. We're gonna make our own Shonen Jump game, and there's a few things that we need to accomplish. We need how's the game play, so mechanics. And it literally can be anything that we want. Who's making it? What's the title going to be? Box art, we leave that up to the community. We give that to them. Let them figure it out. But basically, everything else is all on us. But you're the game director as the guest of the show.
Oh, dear.
So we all have to agree on it, but you get more leeway than we do.
Okay. So Shonen Jump. So it has to be all of Shonen Jump?
I would assume so.
Okay.
Like, I don't think we can say, hey, it's Shonen Jump, and we just do a Dragon Ball game. Like, I think we have to...
Yeah, okay. So we're not going to do a fighter, because there are too many of those damn things. I say we do MMORPG, with each zone being a different world in Shonen Jump.
Wow.
Nailed it. Knocked it out of the park.
Yes. That's what I wanted from Jump Force. Heck yes. Okay, so who's making it?
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh, that's a hard one because I'm just gonna give it to Square. I'm just gonna give it to Square. It's safe. They know how to work with an anime type property.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Hello, Final
definitely
Fantasy. It's safe. They run an MMO already.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to rebuild an MMO when it goes horribly wrong.
Right? Let's talk about, because you love playing as a tank. So let's do class systems. So I think it would be cool if each class played as like a certain like titular character from a shonen jump. So like if somebody was and I don't necessarily want to pick from like if we're picking someone from Naruto, it doesn't have to be Naruto. So I'm thinking like if it's a healer, like I think it'd be really cool if it was like Hinata. Even though I know Hinata's not a healer, but I think if the healer played like that, that would be pretty cool. What do we think about that?
Yeah, I mean,
do they need to be specific characters? Like, could it be like you could have, you could have Reapers, you could have like heroes from My Hero, you could have Saiyans, or is that like too broad?
So, well, we could just yoink DC Universe Online, where when you go and you make your characters, you make them based on the certain set of like, so we have our class systems. Those class systems are defined by different characters in different universes. You pick that character and then you build them off of that. So like if I was a tank, I would really like Saitama from One Punch Man's Invulnerability.
Yes.
And then I would tack other things onto it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I think that's perfect.
Then would that, so we're building our characters off of these shells that are coming from different characters within these different anime.
Yes.
So then would the class system and then the job system be similar to like Elder Scrolls, where it's like you're building off of like this subset, but then like when you're picking your class or your like your star alignment, whatever it is in Elder Scrolls, it's just stats that's coming over. It's not like it affects you like physically or anything like that. It's purely just like, hey, these are the list of skills that you can pick from if you pick a tank. And then like if you were picking a race, which I guess it doesn't really matter if you're picking that you're going to model yourself after like Saitama, it's just going to be whatever.
Yeah.
But do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so, well, yes. I'm trying to think in my head. So, like, somebody else talk. My brain is working.
So,
Josh, what do you got? What do you want to see in this game?
I want to see some sort of compelling overarching story that brings all of these worlds together.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I want it to make sense, not just like, oh, we were all teleported here to stop this injustice. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is, because villain. That would work. But like I want to be able to see our favorite characters. You know what I mean? Like going to each of these worlds, having those play styles. Like I want to see Goku. I want to see Ichigo, and I want to do something with them, not just like hey, I'm going to give you a quest to be like, no, like this is the section where me and Ichigo go out and just like mess fools up.
Yeah. How do you feel? And I don't know who it would be, but how would you feel about a Marvel Ultimate Alliance situation where Doctor Doom basically is using all these other major villains to serve his overall plot? So we would have, unfortunately, we would have to pick like who's the ultimate villain within Shonen Jump, and that ultimate villain is using all of these different. So you have a reason to fight all of these major villains. You have a reason to work with them.
We have a villain like that, All For One. Just make the overarching
okay, that's
villain
exactly what
All
I was
For
thinking.
One.
The same thing.
Oh wow!
I was thinking the same.
I didn't even think of that. So if All For One is going to be the major villain, as an MMO, I wouldn't want it to be like, hey, Midoriya has to be with me all the time. Like I don't want it to be like.
No.
No.
I wouldn't want my hero to
Well,
be like
it could-
the through line for everything.
Well, yeah, no. So I think All for One could be like the major villain, but All for One, in wanting to assume all of the powers of the Shonen Jump universe, then he opened something up, and so it could very much be like this, when you do trials and stuff in Final Fantasy, where you are going in with your crew, the people in your party. So you have like 5 to 8 people in your party going in to run this trial. But the characters that you've collected through running the main story come in. So you have like a Deku, you have a Saitama, you have, well, maybe not Saitama because he's OP, but like you have a Deku. You have, these other characters that you've met by going into the different worlds, and that changes as you progress through the main linear story for the direct story trial tie-ins. And then you can have dungeons that are set in different worlds. Like you can have an entire Bleach one, you have where you have a dungeon set in Hueco Mundo. Like that could be done. And just base it like that.
Can we get
having All for One be the main villain, like he could even like take the powers of each of his sub-bosses. So like when you're fighting him at the end, it's a little bit of each boss fight you've done in the previous.
Oh, dang. Yes. It could even be one of those things where shoot. What am I thinking of? Oh crap. No, I can't remember. Does someone else go?
Oh no, I spent my big idea. What are you talking about? I threw it to you.
I've used all of my creativity up to this point. Except that I want there to be a warlock class that is specifically based off of Light Yagami. And you fight with a different what's the name of those things?
The Shimigamis?
Yeah, Shimigamis. Yes. I was going to say Shinsengumi, but that's Bleach, and that's what they are. Yeah, the Shimigamis.
Close. Super close.
Yeah.
Can we get pets?
You have, like a pet, like a warlock or a necromancer, but instead you're summoning the Shimigamis.
Yes.
That's sweet. That's super cool.
And we could, theoretically, since Shimigamis are from, like, the death, angels, demons, like, afterworld, we could even pull in anybody from any anime that would be in that type of realm.
Yeah.
So, like, we could use that loophole.
Yeah.
So
that'd be really cool.
Maybe from Yu Yu Hakusho, you could just get... No, you wouldn't want to just take Yusuke as a spirit detective, but I kind of want him to be my pet.
And I think too, and then we could have a monk class so Krillin has somewhere to be, because Krillin has to be
don't
somewhere.
Give Krillin anything. Okay, well then if we're giving Krillin something, I want if there was like a Saitama class, I want Yamcha to be a part of that. I just want to Wolf Fang Fist everybody to death, and it just be the most ridiculous OP move.
That's fair. Give him something.
Give him something.
There should be a Yamcha memorial site you can go to. It's just where
he's just like in a crater. Yeah. Okay, so I think last thing that we need to really figure out, because we got who's making it. We know it's going to be an MMO. We've pretty much nailed out every important thing, and devs can figure out the rest. And by the way, we're going to give this as a full pitch. I'm going to find all the important people at Square. I'm going to draft up an email. It's going to be a thing. Title. What do we call this thing? Because remember, J-Star, Victory Stars plus Ultra, like we can go all over the place with the name.
Oh, should we just list out every Shonen Jump and then say online?
I don't even know if we have that time. There's so many names.
I mean, we could just be real simple and just do Shonen Jump Online, and then each expansion is just like Shonen Jump Online plus Ultra, and that's the MHA expansion where you get to build out that section.
Wow, that's it. That's perfect.
Shonen Jump Kakarot.
Yes.
All about it.
Yeah.
All about it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Whenever we do these, there are always games that I want to play. Like this is what
I want to play this.
I know, me too, so badly. I would loot it would be my forever game. Like I would never leave it. I would always be playing this game and always come back.
Oh yeah, because people are like, "Oh, what MMOs you playing?" Well, I've got Final Fantasy 14, WoW, ESO, JSO. So it just fits. It just fits in there. Well, hot dang. So now really it's up to you in the community. We've given you everything that you could possibly need. We need some baller box art. So you make the images, send them to the Borderline email, put them in the Borderline Discord, and let's give Square everything they need to make this game a reality, because it's perfect.
I agree.
But I think we made it. I don't think we broke it. We made it.
No, we made it.
There's the stamp, the rubber stamp.
We made it.
It's a stream, so there's no visuals that are happening, but made it. We didn't break it.
In post, we'll clip it out.
Yes. Who am I kidding? It's never going to happen.
I understand. It's a dream.
All right. We're moving on to my favorite. Where we take a retrospective look back into our own personal histories in gaming based off of another prompt from the community. And so today we're looking at what is your favorite video game finale. But also keep in mind spoilers. So I just think, Biddick, if you were to bring up Ghost of Tsushima in talking about your love of that ending, like watch out for whatever landmine spoilers there might be.
Right.
But still.
And I won't be bringing up Ghost of Tsushima, so don't even worry.
So who does anybody have theirs readily available of like what is your favorite video game finale of all time?
I have a couple ideas. So if people need me to go first, I can.
Yeah, you go first because I'm bouncing some in my head and I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
The last 3 hours of Kingdom Hearts 3 were everything I wanted that whole game to be. It was just maximum hype for 3 hours. And to me, it's tainted because looking back on it, it's not a great game. And that makes me very sad. It's not the game I waited over 10 years to play, but I got everything I wanted more or less to happen in that last like finale moment, kind of. So that was one that stuck out to me. A finale that felt more deserved and wholesome, though, I would say would be Final Fantasy X. And I think that's because that game holds such a special place in my heart. I play it every year. And it's like I've bought it maybe 5 different times between rebuying it on PlayStation 2, buying the PlayStation 3 remake, PlayStation 4, Vita, the whole 9 yards. And I know sometime I'm going to get it on my Switch just because I want to play it on a little bit bigger screen. No offense to the Vita. It's the greatest handheld of all time.
I know, do I need to get mine out? It's right there. I'll do it.
But no, just like that ending, like especially as a kid, it was just such a cool ending to that story. I won't spoil anything, but how it all happened, how it all played out, the emotional impact for the characters and me going on this journey. I didn't expect it. It's not what I wanted per se, but then also kind of getting the ending I did want and the end of Final Fantasy X too. So that's definitely a finale that stands out to me the most.
Kate, if you don't have yours, I've got mine.
No, I can go because I've decided to just do a hot take because it's who I am as a person. I think everybody who doesn't like the Mass Effect 3 ending can kick rocks because I actually think the Mass Effect 3 is one of the best finales. And I think that a lot of people who got mad about the choice at the end being so simple and they missed the point of the game. Because for me and the way how I see it, Mass Effect 3 in and of itself is a finale. It's a finale for a series. It's a finale for each and every character that you've brought along. And when I think about the best finales in video games, I think about the amount of time that I put into Mass Effect 3. And it's one of those where it's the most divisive ending. It was the first time where people lost their absolute minds and harassed devs to change an ending, and devs gave it to them, and now this is the culture we're in, sadly. But the game itself, I feel like people lose the forest through the trees because there isn't a single character in that game that doesn't get a moment of sign off based on every single choice that you have made up until that point. That takes into consideration. And when I think about the best finales in video games, I think about what happened for individual characters in that game, specifically Mordin. Mordin's death in Mass Effect 3 is probably one of the most gut-wrenching moments I have ever felt in a video game. I cried because I've played through Mass Effect multiple times, and I've done it from I have 3 consecutive playthroughs from 1 through 3, the Kate playthrough, the Paragon playthrough, and the Renegade playthrough. And each time when I came across Morden's death, I still cried like it was the first time.
Wow.
And so every piece of Mass Effect 3, from start to end, is about what you've done with this series. It's about how you've gotten to know these characters with this series. And so for me, that's the best video game finale of all time, because the entire game was dedicated to that. And for me, the very final moment where you make your choice, while people didn't like it, heroes don't always get happy endings. And for me, Shepard couldn't get one. And so that was why that game has always been powerful for me. And that's why that's my favorite. It may be a hot take, but I think now, I think people just wanted more autonomy and less consequence when I think about how people respond to Mass Effect 3. They wanted to feel like they were crafting every single bit of it, when ultimately it was a narrative that was crafted for you, and it had to end. And that end had to be finite.
Yeah.
And so that for me is why it's important and why it's my favorite.
That is probably the best way I've heard that the ending of Mass Effect 3 put. Because like when I was thinking of mine, Mass Effect 2 immediately like jumped up there for me.
Yeah.
For endings like within that series.
Oh yeah.
Wow. So my favorite video game ending, it was really hard to pick one, because I feel like with each finale in like different games, there's something different that I really liked about them. So like I think about the Metal Gear Solid finale where Snake and Meryl are just like riding off, leaving Shadow Moses Island, and it's just like that classic riding off into the sunset type of ending. Or like the Halo 1 where like you're driving through and everything is exploding around you, and it's very like Michael Bay-esque. Or like even like getting the heartstrings tugged in like Fable or Fable 2, where you're making that choice, and like what if you save the world and your dog dies. Like, so it was really hard to like pick the ultimate finale, but I wanted to pick one that like really, really challenged me. And for me, it was The Last of Us. I guess I should say part 1, because obviously I have not beat part 2. But the ending of The Last of Us is one of those endings that I still think about all the time. And I think that's one of the reasons why probably 2 resonates with so many people, is because that ending was that ending. And so like you have to live with those choices, just like the characters are in the sequel. But it was such an intense ending for me that I didn't want a sequel. So like when I found out that part 2 was happening, I was like, whoa, wait, what? How? Like that's how impactful it was for me, because it like being put in those shoes of, you spend all of this time with Ellie going across the world for this one task, and then to find out that to finish that task is to lose this person that you love. This person now, you lost your daughter at the beginning, and this person has become your surrogate child almost. Mm-hmm. And now you just have to like let them die, and then to have him lie about it to her like as they're driving away, like just everything about that ending made me question my own personal morals, because it's like I would have done this. I feel like I would have done the same thing. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but it's like I don't know if I would be able to do it. Just like, okay, yeah, see ya, sorry, we spent all this time together, you're gonna die and you don't know that. Like, yeah, that's probably my favorite finale of a video game.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And my finales feel kind of weak and stupid.
What?
Uncharted 4. I love Uncharted 4. I'll make a better argument. Uncharted 4, great ending. I'll throw that one out there, because I feel like my other ending sucked.
Kingdom Hearts 3 no, your other ending was good.
Yeah, stick with it. Fight for Kingdom Hearts 3 till the end.
No, I mean, like, no, don't get me wrong. The ending was bad. Like, it was not a good ending, but like, it was hype. It was so hype.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean.
So hype.
Yeah, it's about what you bring into it a lot of the time too, though.
Right. Thank you, guys. I feel better. I stamp my endings.
Because in all honesty, I drove to another city to get my pre-ordered collector's edition at midnight for Mass Effect 3. I'm not going to say that there isn't some bias into my love of Mass Effect 3. I literally drove to another city for that game. It's what you bring into it, and games are just a culmination of our lives at the time that we're playing them, and that takes into account the journeys that we've been with them, with them. So I think your ending's good.
Yeah.
Shucks, guys! Now you make me feel all special.
Well, please let us know. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments below. What is your favorite video game finale? Because there's a lot out there, but also spoilers beware. This is not an open invitation to be like, hey, guess what? You never finished this game, Asa? Here's the ending of Last of Us Part 2. Don't do that to me.
Because he'll never see it. He's never going to do
it. Yeah, apparently not. Well, I never saw the ending of Halo 5, but that got spoiled for me live on GameChat, so who knows what's going to happen.
Probably.
Thanks a lot, Corey. What's that?
It wasn't memorable. I mean, like, all of Halo 5 wasn't really memorable.
Yeah, but Cortana? Corey telling me what happened to Cortana? Like, I don't want to know that she became evil and, like, whatever. It is. We're moving on. That's a whole nother discussion. It's time for Big Bet Trivia. Where these two are going to duke it out. We are playing, which camera am I on right now? I got one or two. There we go. Ultimate video game trivia. You all can play this at home.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
I'm nervous.
Now, I said this before. Some of these questions they're softballs, and some of them are curveballs.
That's what you think.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I'm going to be a fake gamer girl live on screen now, guys. Oh, gosh.
So, I feel like the results have been pretty mixed. Like, sometimes it's been a fight. So let me tell you how this works, Kate and Josh. Okay. I know that you're new to playing as well. You're gonna get basically three strikes, you're out, and then you're gonna figure it out. So I'm gonna read the question. Okay. You're gonna buzz in. I still haven't figured out how to do a buzzer, so we've had people just wait frantically, just go whatever you got to do to snag that spot to be the number one contender. Give your answer. If you're incorrect, it automatically goes to the next person. If they don't get it, we go into hint number one. So that's really the three strikes out. After 3 hints, if nobody gets it, we're done. It's over. No points. It's a draw. It's not even a draw. It's like you both are awful.
Okay, fair. Good and honest.
Let's go.
I like it.
All right. Nope, we did that last time. I thought I shuffled these well. I did not. Oh, yes. No, that's too easy. Sorry. You know what?
Ace is actually going to only play this game with himself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm supposed to just take the one off the top, but I wanted to be like... Okay, the last one was Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay, but it talks about Vin Diesel in it. I'm like, come on, you can't give that away.
I would not have gotten that whole name, though.
Really?
No.
Okay, well...
I would have just said Chronicles of Riddick. I wouldn't have said Escape from Butcher Bay.
Would you have maybe said Dark Athena?
No.
All right, I'm going to bash my head in with this snowball, make it not work even more. Okay. So put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Who do you back? Who are you supporting? Are you Team Josh? Are you Team Kate? Or are you Team Asa because you're disappointed? But it is time for Big Bet Trivia. Are you two ready?
No, but let's go.
Yeah.
That's the exact sentiment that I want to hear. All right. The question is, which American filmmaker served as a writer in his 2012 collaboration with Suda51 on Lollipop Chainsaw?
Oh, me?
No freaking way. Me. Really?
No, not me. But yes, Sam Raimi?
No. Oh, gosh. For a second I paused. I'm like, no way you got it. But you didn't. Sorry.
No, I didn't. I'm trying to remember.
But I feel like you're on the right track. I don't know if when you hear the answer, you're actually on the right track. But Josh, it's to you.
Is it James Gunn?
Whoa! Wow! It is James Gunn.
Good shit. That is actually very close to Sam Raimi.
Okay, so I was right in that.
James Gunn is the only other director I could think that is kind of in the video game sphere.
Yeah, James Gunn was going to be my second choice if it wasn't Raimi.
Wow, James Gunn.
Good shit.
What a freaking
Like,
good
I didn't know that. That was
question.
just like it probably James Gunn.
Process of elimination. I love it. Well, there we go. Kate, unfortunately, you're not on the board.
That's fine.
Josh takes the point, but there's been rumors, and when I say rumors, it's like, I mean, I'm the one doing the show, so the rumors are just me talking to myself. But there's rumors that maybe at the end of season one, or at the end of this season, we're gonna have as many guests back as we can to just do some more. Obviously, video game talks, but let's do some video game trivia. But
Battle Royale trivia edition.
you give me these ideas, and the Steam engine just rolls with it. So I know what I'm working on after we end the show. But we're going to start to wrap things up. It's time for Out This Month. I'm going to run through these list of games. You two, just let me know what's the one that is hyping you up the most. What's the one that you're the most excited about? So we have Apex Legends Season 6. Evergate coming to Switch. Microsoft Flight Simulator. That game's back in a big way. Mortal Shell coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One. Spiritfarer. PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Stadia. Battletoads is also coming back to PC and Xbox One. PGA Tour 2K1. Madden 21, Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series, finally coming to PSVR. Best Friend Forever coming to PC and Switch. Control is getting the Alan Wake expansion. Super excited about that one. Sorry. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition. Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 4. Tell Me Why Chapter 1. Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions. Jump Force Deluxe Edition. Project Cars 3. Wasteland 3. And Windbound. Kate, what out of that list, and if there's something that I missed that you're like, you know what, Ace, I like that a little bit better in the month of August, what are you hyped about?
There's really nothing in there.
Fair.
But just based on what I've seen, because the hard thing is I'm not going to play any of these games. I probably won't play them for a while. But from what I've seen, from the art and the gameplay for Spiritfarer, that is one game that I'm really, really interested in.
Yes.
And then I would say outside of that, Tell Me Why, because I'm a huge Life is Strange fan. So that game looks like it's going to be phenomenal as well.
Apex Season 6, I'm loving it. I like the new changes. I am looking forward to being able to play as the new legend. They've made some small changes, like you can do some crafting now, so you collect resources and can craft certain like daily weapons, things like that. Also, they've added a new thing where everyone drops with an Evo shield. So if you don't play Apex, basically like your shield evolves, like as you do damage, your shield evolves and gets stronger and stronger. So I really like that effect. So if you're feeling spicy and you want to drop hot, there's more rewards for that kind of play. So I have been loving on Apex Season 6. I also I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and if I had PSVR, I would be playing Vader Immortal because it looks super cool, and who doesn't want to hold a lightsaber and deflect bullets and use the Force? So those would be mine.
And I'm going to have to go with Captain Tsubasa because I love me some anime sports. So seeing anime soccer, I'm all about it. But let us know, what games are you really excited about? But it's time to wrap things up. But in doing that, it's time for our community spotlight, where we take somebody in the Borderline family and we give them the spotlight so we can show you something cool that they're doing. And this week is Skeletoni. So make sure you go to I am Skeletoni to see what he's got going on over there. He's an amazing community member, has some really fun streams, and he's got some great ideas. So he's trying some things out. So make sure you check him out. But now it's time for you, Kate. What are you doing? What do you want people to check out?
Yeah, so actually, in 45 minutes at 3:45 CT, I am going to be on a panel for Black Girls Creates Kumba Kickback, which is an online convention where they're doing a series of panels. The panel I'm going to be on is called Being a Creator of Color, where we're going to go through what it's like to come up in different types of entertainment industry as a creator of color, how we stay focused, how we gain inspiration, and how we jump over some of the hurdles that come in front of us. So that's something I'm immediately doing. Outside of that, I am currently covering Fantasia Fest 2020, which is an international film festival for genre film. So I will be having a lot of reviews coming out on butwhythopodcast.com. Some for some anime adaptations, specifically Wotakoi Love is Hard for Otaku and Kakaguri. So you can look out for those things as well as many others. And if you want to keep up with me, you can head over to on Twitter at Oh My Myth Randier, and then you can follow my site and my community at But Why Tho PC, where you can look what I'm doing, but also what my amazing writers are covering in video games and beyond.
Amazing. Please make sure you go check her out.
And if you are interested in hearing anything from the voice actors behind the characters of God of High School, we're going to be running some really cool things on the site starting the coming week.
Wow.
So keep your eyes peeled.
Those are some hot drops. I'm excited about that. Josh, where can people find you?
People can find me at Twitter, just at Josh Biddick, my first and last name. Also on any podcast services, I got a podcast called the Up and Comer Podcast, which I sit down each and every week and I interview someone in the Kind of Funny community who wants to do their Up and Comer program. I know they announced that the program has been delayed, but that does not mean there are not fantastic people out there who are doing some cool stuff. And I just want to share stories and, create a place for people to spread some love and share what they're doing, because not many people like talking about themselves unless people ask them questions. So I want to be the guy to ask you those questions.
And you can find me at agreenriver07 on Instagram and Twitter. And then if you really want to follow anybody, please search Borderline Entertainment on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Stay in the know, stay connected so you can see when the next episode of Game Chat is going to be, when certain announcements are happening, and just being a part of an awesome growing community. But thank you so much, Kate, for being on the episode. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your weekend. But above all else, be well, Borderline family.